Part of this video is sponsored by Löwenanteil. Here's the deal. Everything you see on this table, this is the stuff I grew up on here in Germany. The classics, the comfort food, the weird little things that German supermarkets have been selling forever. If you grow up in Germany, you take all of this for granted. Like, of course it exists. Why wouldn't it? But then you leave the country, talk to people abroad, and suddenly you realize nobody else knows even half of this stuff. Some of this is genius, some of this is pure chaos, and some of it feels like a prank the entire country somehow agreed on. So, I gathered a random, very eclectic assortment of German supermarket treasures to show you what shaped our taste buds. From the nostalgic to the weirdly useful to some items that make no sense to anyone but us. We'll go through it all, taste some of it, discuss what makes them so classically German, and of course, we'll rank them on a tier list. This is YouTube after all. Jump in, tell me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, or if I forgot something. Let's analyze German supermarket culture. We're starting with the stuff that basically raised us. Brotzeit, which means, you know, bread, spreads, sausages, and vibes. If you grew up here, this is definitely home. Germany's darkest and densest bread legend, this is Pumpernickel. Pumpernickel is this heavy, dark rye bread from Westphalia in Germany that's steamed forever until it becomes basically edible coal. It's earthy, a little sweet, and it lasts longer than most friendships ever will. Germans love it, everyone else panics. I'm actually pretty hungry, so I'm gonna open this guy up and give it a try. Look, it's so dense, and it smells really, really good. If you're wondering, Pumpernickel of course comes in different shapes. They're not always small like coins like these guys. They can be square, they can be round, but just larger. I personally really love these ones because they work fantastic on a charcuterie board. And charcuterie we will get to, don't worry. So delightfully tasty, very, very German. And this is, I think, where we're starting off strong and putting this straight on the A tier. The cold cut designed to hook kids on meat early. Say hello to Bärchenwurst. Now this is lunch meat with a cartoon teddy bear face printed into every slice. Maybe let me just show you. You would think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Check this out. This is literally a teddy bear shaped piece of bologna. This is pure German childhood energy. Adults like to pretend they have outgrown this, but they haven't. Tastes so average. And I will say putting this in the shape of a teddy bear is actually already progress because they used to come, you know, in the shape of a face. That was some creepy ass shit. This on the other hand, just cute. Still feels wrong to eat them, but hey, it's just fun. I'm gonna be honest though, other than the nostalgia factor, there's absolutely nothing remarkable about these, which is why we're gonna put them on, you know, maybe the C tier. The smoky spread with the soul of a butcher shop. Meat grobe Teewurst. So in Germany we have like a spreadable version of a sausage called Teewurst. It actually has nothing to do with tea. It's just called that because people used to eat it for tea time, so for any snack in the middle of the day. And this guy, grobe Teewurst, is the chunkier, rustic version of Teewurst. This is what it looks like. It's soft, it's smoky, it's spreadable, and it's dangerously addictive. A nice little piece of bread. Let's spread this. It smells so savory, so meaty, so smoky. I haven't had this in at least a decade, so I'm very excited to try it again. Basically, imagine a really nice smoky hot dog sausage, but it's spreadable. Spreadable sausage. Definitely one of my favorite German Wurst style things. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna put this on the A tier. From spreadable hot dogs to spreadable cheese. This is Bavarian beer garden energy in a tub, and it's called Oberster. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? Oberster is actually mashed cheese with the addition of butter, onions, paprika, and very often caraway. Great for balance. It's rich, it's creamy, it's slightly funky, because traditionally Oberster is actually a way to use up old cheese that has almost gone bad, but just not quite. This is something you will definitely find at every beer garden, and it's the perfect pairing for a pretzel. In fact, for my American audience, I think this is actually the origin of what you guys call beer cheese. Maybe? Because we don't really do beer cheese in Germany, but we definitely do Oberster. I mean, it's basically just spreadable cheese. It kind of looks like a firmer egg salad. Actually smells pretty funky. Piece of fresh bread with Obatsta doesn't get much better than this. Really, really like this. Also, the best part about this is the caraway, truly. This, you guys, you must not miss out on. Unsurprisingly, cheese with butter and spices is really, really good. This is gonna be our first S tier of the day. The salad that contains absolutely no vegetable. This is Fleischsalat. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Us Germans, we make meat salads. Let me show you what I mean. So there we go. We got ham strips, we got mayo, we got pickles. So okay, technically, I guess I was lying. There are vegetables in here, pickles. But yeah, Germans put this stuff on bread like it's normal. Visitors see it and question every life choice this country has ever made. Oh, whoa. I mean, guys, let's not beat around the bush here. This is just bologna and mayo. That's what this is. You put a little bit of this on a classic piece of white bread. And this is one of those OG German bites that you just grow up having every once in a while. I don't care how nasty this is. It's just so good. It's not quite S tier for me, but I think it does deserve an A tier for sure. Pickled fish wrapped around pickled things. Yes, you guys, these are rollmops. These are herring fillets rolled with onions and pickles inside. Originally invented as a hangover cure, but this stuff, it does pack a punch. No, actually, it doesn't smell that bad. This is this is German engineering, you guys. I gotta say, it doesn't even look that bad. You can put this on a bread roll. You can eat this with hot potatoes, my recommendation actually, or you just eat it straight up like that. Maybe remove the little skewer that holds it together first. It doesn't look like it, I know, but it's quite good. Oh, Jesus, I can see how this was invented as a hangover cure. But I don't think I can put it any higher than a B tier. Maybe, actually, you know what? Let's put it on the C tier. A sweet spread that tastes like the German countryside with a little pinch of Christmas meat, Pflaumenmus. Pflaumenmus is actually just a slow-cooked plum spread with deep caramel vibes. It's less jam and more of a rural soul concentrate. A bread classic for sure. And you know what? If you know the classic German donut, a Berliner as many people call it, this stuff is the most OG filling in a Berliner, by the way. Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. It's so smooth, and you can really see how this is not your typical jam. It really looks and feels different from it. It does come with a little bit of spices in it, like there's a little bit of clove, cardamom, cinnamon, but just a hint, just a hint. It's not overpowering at all. This is a much needed palate cleanser after the roll mops. If you come to Germany and you want to bring people something tasty and traditional, get some Pflaumenmus for them. It's not easy to put this on a tier, and I feel like we've gone high a lot of times already, but this, I can't put it any lower than an A tier. So A tier it is. Move over Nutella. This is Germany's OG sweet spread. It's thick, it's dark, it's Goldsaft. What is Goldsaft? Well, it is sugar beet syrup. It's very malty, it's earthy, and it's super old school. Fun fact, in many parts of the world, sugarcane is the main source of sugar. In other parts of the world, corn is the main source of sugar, or high fructose corn syrup. But over here in Germany, sugar beets are actually the main source of sugar. Our regular sugar is made from them, but this is basically the unfiltered, the raw version of sugar beet syrup before it becomes sugar. It is actually really, really tasty. Look, it's super thick, it's super glossy. It's great on bread, it's great in baking, and especially in the north of Germany, you'll find this in every granny's pantry. It has so much character. You guys, try this on a stack of pancakes and you will not be disappointed. I'm getting a little tired of this, and I'm sure we will have things that I like less, but this one just also has to go on the A tier. I am slightly sorry. So good. This concludes our Brotzeit, you know, the meal in Germany where you have bread with things on top, sweet or savory, as you have just seen. But now let's slide into the glorious world of jars, cans, and emergency food. Practicality plus nostalgia equals extremely German supermarket energy. And we're starting with this one, tiny sausages swimming in brine. This, you guys, is the mini Winnie Würstchenkette. Look, everybody knows Germany does sausages well. And this is, I mean, why did I include this? Because it has maybe the most childhood nostalgia out of all the things for me. Not because I always ate this, but because I always loved the TV ads. I didn't really eat this much. What the hell? I feel cheated. We need to pull up the old TV ad because this is supposed to be a chain of mini sausages like these. Like, that's the whole point of these. I'm sure we can pull up the old ad. There were kids at a kid's birthday party, that's what I remember, and they would like eat these chains of mini sausages, and I always wanted that experience, which I don't think I ever got, but I always wanted it. And now I finally got to buying this, and it's not a chain. These are all individual. I mean, it's not every day that you find a sausage this small. That's what she said. Let's just give this a try. It's a very mediocre hot dog. Below average, I will say. There might be one thing we could do to salvage them. Bautzner Senf. Mustard from the city of Bautzen. Bautzen is in former East Germany, and I think especially in the east part of Germany, this stuff is extremely popular, and for a very good reason. It's distinctly different from a French mustard, it's different from an English yellow mustard, and it's also definitely quite different from a very southern German mustard, which would be very sweet. This is not. So let's see if it can help us. Ah! Okay, add a little mustard on this mini wiener. So cute. Smallest hot dog in the world. Okay, guys, I'm not exactly sure what happened to these. Because they disappointed the dreams I've been carrying around with me since my early childhood, I will say, what's the last tier? D? E? F? Okay, let's put them. I think they deserve it. Let's put them on the lowest tier, the F tier. You shatter my dreams, I shatter yours. Bautzner Senf though, really good stuff. I'm gonna put this on a solid A tier. And also, guys, it's extremely inexpensive. I think this was like 150 or something. Really good. German soup crunchies that end up as a topping on absolutely everything. These are Backerbsen. So what are Backerbsen? On the back, the English translation says soup pearls. They are actually fried little dough balls meant to be a topping for any soup, but somehow people love to put them on absolutely everything else. And I absolutely agree. These guys are super underrated. Let me open them up. Check this out. Whoa! So Backerbsen literally translates to baked or fried peas. And you don't have to be Einstein to figure out why. Let me give them a quick taste. Oh, it's like a tiny, savory, crispy donut. That's exactly what this tastes like. It is so good. I could eat these on everything. I can even eat these by themselves. Before I get carried away, let me just give a quick honorable mention to these guys. Suppengemüse. What is this? Well, since we're talking about soup-related things, imagine you're making a soup and you just want like a mirepoix or a soup base. This, you will find at absolutely every German supermarket. There's a piece of celery root, there's a piece of leek, there are some carrots, and there's some parsley. All you need to start a German-style hearty soup. And then, when the soup is finished, you put these on top. I learned today that AP has never had them in his life. What do you say?
Oh my god, it's so crispy!
They're really good, right? Good snack.
Salty donuts.
Really like a salty donut. We've had a lot of A tiers. We did not have a lot of S tiers, but S tier it is. Oh, and just because we've been talking about this, I guess we should rate the Suppengemüse as well. I mean, where do you put this? It feels wrong, but I'm gonna put them on a C tier. The ultimate survival meal in a can, this is ravioli in tomatensauce. This one clearly isn't German in origin, it's, I don't know, I guess some kind of Italian-ish situation. For some reason, every time I went camping or something in Germany, there would always be this everywhere. Poor students, stranded campers, and emotionally tired adults everywhere know this, but especially in Germany, you know, it's iconic. It's definitely not gourmet, but it always hits. And I think I need some of that. Look at this piece of culinary perfection. I don't think this is one to be proud of. So honestly, this is only in the video for purely nostalgic reasons, because I truly believe this is probably Germany's most sold canned food, I think. I'm not sure. For those of you guys who grew up in Germany, let me know. Is this also something you would always see as a kid? I think this is an E tier, and nevertheless, it belongs in this video. Sweet apple braised cabbage perfection. Meet Apfel Rotkohl. Okay, you've all heard of sauerkraut, I am sure, but this is a must-have side for roasts and winter comfort meals here in Germany. And while you could make this at home, I honestly think there's not much of a point, because every German household buys it pre-made and then just pretends they cooked it at home. Yeah, that's how we roll. Unlike sauerkraut, which is traditionally naturally fermented, this guy is more of a pickle actually, because it's been like cooked down in vinegar. Not only is it very fragrant, very tasty, it also looks really striking and brings a little bit of color to the otherwise often beige cuisine of Germany. It comes in a bunch of different varieties, but I personally would always recommend getting the one with apples and onions. It's quite good. It's really savory, but at the same time, it's nice and tangy and cuts perfectly through the richness of a winter-style German roast. It's very simple, but it should not be underestimated, which is why we're gonna put this on the B tier. Teeny tiny onions that live forever in vinegar. These are Silberzwiebeln. You all know pickles, right? Pickled cucumbers. We, of course, have them in Germany and they're really, really good, but we also have other pickles. And one of the most underrated ones are these, Silberzwiebeln, translated to silver onions. Not quite sure why. Ooh, very satisfying. Hey, this is not how you want to smell. I really think these deserve a lot more attention. I'm gonna give them a try. So good. They're sharp, they're crunchy, they're ready for cheese boards, fondue, or just, emotional support snacking. Absolutely delicious. And I think just because I want to popularize them today, I'm gonna put them on the S tier, because I love pickled onions. After jars and questionable canned food, it's time for something cooler, creamier, and way more soothing. This is now the Dairy Fresh reset button on German supermarket food culture. This is Germany's most misunderstood dairy icon. It is Speisequark. Now, Speisequark, or just quark, is somewhere between yogurt and cream cheese, but it's also its own thing entirely. Germans actually eat it sweet, savory, plain, with herbs, with fruit. There's just no wrong way to eat quark in Germany. And somehow, it doesn't seem to exist in other places. So we got Speisequark Magerstufe, which is a low-fat quark, and this is German bodybuilders' favorite thing. It's packed with protein, very low calorie, very low fat. But then, if you want a slightly richer meal with quark, then this one is a very popular option, Bärlauchquark, which is basically quark with a little bit of herbs like ramps in them. Why not put some of it on a piece of pumpernickel? Cheers, you guys. Slightly tangy, nice and oniony from the rams. Savory. This is really good. And like with many cultured dairy products, you feel quite good after eating this. I'm putting this guy on a C tier not as an insult, but as a way to say, you and I have been friends forever. We're good. We don't need to hype each other up anymore. We're in a solid place together. The salty yogurt drink Turkish immigrants brought here, this is ayran. Okay, now obviously this is a Turkish drink, ayran. It's a classic brought here by Turkish guest workers who came here in the 60s and by now have of course become an essential and integral part of Germany's society. And while we have some Turkish brands selling ayran in German supermarkets, I just think there's something hilarious about a brand called Müller selling ayran, a Turkish drink, obviously. You gotta love the European Union. Did you know we have this? This is, by the way, how we saved the planet. We fixed it, guys. You're welcome. It's nice. It's refreshing. It's a little bit salty. You have this with a good old doner kebab. You're in heaven. But while we're talking about dairy drinks, we should also mention Kefir. This is the fizzy fermented milk drink Germany quietly obsesses over. I believe this is originally an Eastern European thing because kefir is definitely very popular in Russia. But since half of Germany used to be in the, Russian Soviet sphere of influence for a couple of decades, I assume this is how it made its way over here. And Germany is also famous for a lot of flavored milky drinks. Like we have a lot of flavored buttermilks and stuff like that, flavored yogurts, and also, of course, blueberry flavored kefir, which sounds right down my alley. I'm not a huge fan of milky drinks, but this one, quite good. Apparently it's also good for gut health, so there's that. I believe we should put Ayran on a solid A tier, just because it's such a good drink, you guys. And then the kefir, for me personally, not life-changing, but for people who love probiotic milky drinks, this might be a keeper. Let's put it on a C tier. We already covered a lot of ground, but there's a lot more coming up, you guys. We got baking items, we got breads, we got snacks, both sweet and savory. And also the one secret German drink that cures absolutely every disease, apparently. We'll get to all of this after a quick word from this video's very German sponsor, by the way, Löwenanteil. You guys know me, I love cooking from scratch, but sometimes, even for me, there's just no time for it. Maybe I'm busy editing a video and all I want is a warm meal right now, and ideally one that actually makes me feel good and nourished after I eat it. And that is where Löwenanteil comes in. They make full organic meals with real ingredients. No weird additives, no nonsense. They last in your pantry for a very long time and you can heat them up in just a few minutes, or honestly, sometimes I even eat them straight out of the jar cold. Yes, they're that tasty. But the shelf-stable part must be my favorite. If like me, fridge and freezer space is a challenge for you, we have finally been taken care of. And right now, for the end of Black Month, Löwenanteil have dropped 3 new dishes. Chicken fricassee, butter chicken and paprika chicken, plus their biggest sale of the year. With my code Andong, you get an extra 5% off all Black Month offers for a total of up to 35% off. That's actually nuts. And let me tell you, that chicken fricassee, maybe with some rice on the side, but you don't even have to, it's just a comfort food classic that hits home for me. So if you're interested in trying Löwenanteil, now is definitely the time, because there is a link below that's gonna work forever, but the special offers maybe won't. Löwenanteil delivers to Germany, of course, but also a number of other European countries. I'm telling you guys, don't wait too long, you really don't want to miss out on the Black Month offers. Löwenanteil has saved me on so many busy or lazy days, so thank you Löwenanteil for sponsoring this video. Time to visit the baking aisle where everything comes in tiny packets. This is just a curiosity I really wanted to point out here because, while in many other countries things like yeast or baking powder come like in a jar and you just spoon it out, in Germany, for some reason, it comes in tiny little packets because apparently German recipes run on precision and childhood trauma. And there is actually something convenient about this. You add, as the recipe says, 1 packet or 2 packets of baking powder, and there you go. Less thinking and everything just stays fresh. But then also one thing I really want to show you guys, that is vanilla sugar. Most other countries work with vanilla extracts or vanilla concentrates, but I think vanilla sugar is actually really smart and really convenient. Ooh, vanilla is so strong, it's so strong. You add one of these to your cake. Oh. I'm not gonna put baking powder on our chart, but vanilla sugar, just because it's so unique and so interesting here in Germany, is gonna go on the B tier. The pectin-powered jam shortcut, Gelierzucker. We can keep it simple for this one, guys. Sugar plus pectin equals effortless homemade jam. Germans take this very, very seriously. 2:1 usually refers to the ratio between fruit and sugar you want to use. And the product itself is actually very simple. It's just, sugar with added pectin. So that means that you can basically take even fruit juice, add this, and it turns into jam after you cook it. And I know for a fact that people in other countries look for this stuff for ages and just can't get their hands on it. They gotta find industrial pectin somewhere instead. So just for sheer convenience, I'm gonna put this on the A tier. Now for the heavy hitters, we're getting to dumplings, noodles, and all the classics that warm the German soul and slow the heartbeat. Instant potato dumpling goodness, these are Sonntagsknödel or Knödelmasse. Now, avid followers of my channel might remember I actually made a video about Kartoffelknödel or German-style potato dumplings maybe 2 years back or something. Imagine a giant gnocchi, but way better somehow. Obviously, making it from scratch is the best, but we do also have ready-made or pre-shaped potato dumplings for lazy Sundays and roast dinners. They're reliable, they're comforting, they're essential, and very, very, very German. If you're looking for the middle ground between, making them from scratch or making them yourself, how about this? You can also get Kloß Teig, which is basically potato dumpling like dough that you can just squeeze out of this bag, shape them yourself into any shape you want. The advantage is you can also stuff them with things like maybe bits of bacon, speck, or onions, or even like breadcrumbs. People take toasted breadcrumbs and stuff them into Kartoffelkloß. Yeah, so all of these options are open to you if you work with this or you just work with this. Either way, these guys are a keeper. And because they're so good, we're gonna put them on the B tier. Southern Germany's tiny noodle stars meet Knöpfle from the fridge. You guys all know Spätzle. These are like Spätzle's little cousins. They're perfect with gravy or with melted cheese, and they're just, egg pasta. The only difference about Knöpfle is that they're much, much smaller. They're just these little, like, almost flakes of egg noodles. And what's amazing about them here in Germany, we don't just have dried Spätzle and Knöpfle. We have a whole section in the refrigerator section of the supermarket where they come like this. You just have to dunk them in hot water for a very short amount of time and they're ready to eat. So if you're really hungry and you can't wait, these are amazing and they're also extremely German. And for that, I think they deserve to go on a B tier. The giant stuffed noodle with forbidden monastery vibes, let me explain. So these guys are called Maultaschen, and the history is actually quite interesting. You remember those absolutely appalling ravioli from before? Well, these are basically like the really good version of that, because this is essentially a dumpling. It's filled with meat and veggies. Nothing crazy on its surface, just meat or sometimes spinach wrapped in pasta dough. The cool part about these is that they were allegedly invented by monks who, during Lent, when they had to fast, were filling these with meat in order to hide the meat from God. So God obviously wouldn't see that they're stuffed with meat, so they could eat meat during Lent. Obviously, you're supposed to cook these before you eat them. They're not raw. Definitely, yeah, it's not meant to be eaten like that. Why did I do that? That was a bad idea. But nevertheless, I think they belong on the A tier because this is the one and only German dumpling. Yes, they exist. This is Germany's most unstoppable dish, the Kräuterbaguette from the freezer. There really isn't that much to say about these. They may even exist outside of Germany, but they're so ubiquitous here. Every time you go to a barbecue, every time somebody's hosting something, these guys are always around. They're herb butter slices stuffed inside frozen baguette. And no matter how good your barbecue is, people always finish these before everything else. You might be able to take a sneak peek inside. They are stuffed with quite the generous amount of herb butter. And I'm just gonna ask you guys to use your imagination and picture what this looks like when it's golden, crispy brown. So I would say culturally, they're at the very, very top. But, culinarily speaking, let's put them on a C tier because they're just not that crazy special. The crisp German comfort biscuit, this is Zwieback. Zwieback literally translates to baked twice, and unsurprisingly, that is literally what this is. Look, I don't think there's a more perfectly browned cracker or biscuit in the entire world. They're twice baked, they're crunchy, they're weirdly soothing, and every German kid has had it during sickness or during snack time. It's the driest thing in the world. I will say though, they're normally not that dry because they always come with tea, which actually, that reminds me, can you pass me the tea, AP? Over here in Germany, we love our herbal tea infusions, and I think this is probably one of the top 3 teas consumed in Germany. Fennel anise caraway tea, which sounds gross, and I think it also tastes gross, but somehow this tea is so good for your stomach. No matter how many burritos you had the night before, you drink one of these and it's all gone. In fact, in Germany, this is like a miracle cure for absolutely everything. Tummy ache? Drink some Fenchel-Kümmel-Anis-Tee. Got a cold? Drink some Fenchel-Kümmel-Anis-Tee. Got diarrhea? Well, you definitely have to have Fenchel-Kümmel-Anis-Tee. I think in Germany there's nothing this tea cannot cure, including the dryness of Zwieback. I don't know, it's just hard to put Zwieback on anything higher than the C tier, but trust me guys, it's good stuff, and that's why we're putting it on the C tier. Fenchel-Kümmel-Anis-Tee will go on the D tier because it honestly doesn't taste very good, but that said, if you're sick, drink this tea and then thank me later. This is Germany's iconic pudding trio. We got rote Grütze, we got Grießpudding, and Milchreis. Let me explain. This is essentially the holy trinity of German fridge desserts. They're fruity, they're creamy, they're nostalgic. This is the childhood dessert aisle in 3 cups. Let's start with the most childlike one, and that has gotta be rote Grütze. The most accurate translation would be red goop. This is the stuff German childhood dreams are made of. What is this, like cherry flavored jello? I think the red stuff is usually like red berries or cherry. But of course, there's a second little cup with vanilla sauce. I don't hate it. Not gonna lie, I actually prefer this to like a yogurt or something. And I think rote Grütze will go on the A tier. Milchreis. Back when I lived in China, I would always ask my Chinese friends why the hell Chinese people don't eat milky rice. They love rice, and milk is definitely not something that Chinese people don't eat anymore. It's very common now these days. I feel like a lot of money is to be made for somebody who introduces this to Asian countries. I just don't like milky rice. And that is why, maybe somewhat controversially to a lot of Germans, Milchreis will go on the E tier for me. Sorry guys. Last but not least, we got Grießpudding, which is semolina pudding. And guys, let me tell you, now we're talking. Because this stuff, for some reason, is like a billion times better than the rice. I love semolina pudding because of its texture. It's a little bit grainy, but just a tiny little bit. And it's almost like this delicious, mildly sweet vanilla pudding just massages your tongue with the little semolina grains. I don't know, the description sounds slightly gross, I would say, but as a snack, this is really good. If you enjoy sweet puddings, then you will definitely love this one. That's why this goes on a B tier. That was quite some work, but we're finally coming to the fun part. Chips, gummies, chocolates, chaos. This is Germany's #1 potato chip flavor. Unfortunately, these are paprika chips. If potato chips aren't paprika flavored, are they even chips? Well, not here in Germany. Guys, I'm not exactly sure why, but at least until a couple years back, like 90% of potato chips in Germany were paprika flavored, with maybe the exception of Pringles. Germans freaking love their paprika flavored chips. Hungarian paprika, regular paprika, spicy paprika, sweet paprika, but just paprika. Objectively speaking, this is not a bad chip flavor. But if you grow up in a country where almost every single potato chip you ever eat is just this one flavor, you grow sick of them. I think this is like a low-key childhood trauma for me. I'm not even tasting paprika anymore. All I taste is 90s Germany. We got a lot better. We got many more potato chip flavors these days. Just out of rebellion, I'm gonna put these on the F tier. Now, Germany's favorite chewy chaos, meat gummies from Katjes and Hitchis. Bright, fruity, chewy, and dangerously addictive, German gummy culture is a universe of its own. People have always loved chewy, fruity snacks, and there were things like wine gums and Turkish Delight before them, but Haribo, I'm pretty sure, is the brand that pioneered the gummy candy we know today. And while they're very present here in Germany, we also have other brands that are really giving the big ones a run for their money. We got Katjes, which is well known for vegan gummy candy because, in case you didn't know, gummy candy is not vegan, it's not even vegetarian, it's actually, it has a lot of gelatin, which comes from like pork bones or beef bones if you're lucky. But yeah, these guys just use modified cornstarch, I believe, and that makes these very pleasant texturally. Stick to your teeth a little more, but other than that, great stuff. These are really fun, and it doesn't matter how old you are, they will not stop being fun. I also want to give a quick shout out to Hitchis, which might be my personal favorite gummy candy brand. And a little fun fact I like about them, they rebranded to Hitchies because their old brand name is the name of the family that owns the company, and their name is Hitchler. Why would you change that? I don't understand. All in all, German gummy candy easily deserves an S tier because, guys, we made it. The perfect sweet morning snack, this is Knoppers. That's right, you guys, we don't say Knoppers, we say Knoppers. Why are these guys so popular in Germany? One reason could be that they're actually pretty good. We got some wafers, we got some nougat, we got some milky cream inside. Whoever developed these did a bang up job because they are texturally perfect. But even though it's genuinely quite good, I don't think it's the flavor that hooked Germany on this snack. I think it's the marketing, because it's marketed as an early morning snack, and their ads, which I'm sure AP can pull up and just play you guys a little clip. They famously said that this is what people in Germany eat at 9:30. The famous ad went something like, oh, 9:30 in Germany, what do people do? And they interviewed all these like seemingly busy people just doing their supermarket shopping. And everyone was like, oh yeah, we're just having Knoppers because that's what we do at 9:30 in Germany. And we all love Knoppers to this day. It makes no sense that this is marketed as an early morning snack, but it's amazing. And I think the only tier a Knoppers can go on is the S tier, no discussion. The chilled childhood classic, guys, this is Kinderpingui. I'm just gonna go on the record here and say that this might just be the pinnacle of German dessert culture. What, too much? Apparently not everyone agrees with me, but I think that this is what it is. Kinderpingui always comes from the fridge. It must be cold. Oh. Did you hear that little snap? That little chocolatey snap? What we have here is a super soft and fluffy milky cream with a layer of dark chocolate in the middle, two little thin layers on the top and on the bottom of like a, I don't know, like a chocolate sponge cake, and then everything is covered in dark chocolate again. It's cold, it's creamy, it's a soft chocolate bar stored in the fridge. Guys, this is just pure nostalgia. Let me retract that thing about this being the pinnacle of German snack culture. It's good. It's not that good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That said though, this is an absolute delight and still an incredible snack in AP. I'm gonna ask you to create a new tier above the S tier that will only have Kinderpingui on it, and that will be the N tier for nostalgia. This is the emotional peak German Christmas sweets that hit harder than they should. First and foremost, we have Spekulatius, the ultimate Christmas cookie. It is so popular here in Germany. There's no way you get through the holiday season without trying Spekulatius in Germany, which is why they must be on this list. It is essentially just a nice butter cookie, flavored with a lot of Christmassy things, you know, cloves, nutmeg, coriander seeds, that kind of stuff. They just have this signature look. I just can't have any more sweets, but they taste really, really good. I will say these are so classic that they have to be on a pretty high tier, but not too high because they're also not exactly German. I think, you know what, let's compromise and put them on the B tier. And then we have these guys, Dominosteine. I don't know what the best way to translate this is. It's like a piece of domino. They don't look like dominoes at all. So this is a Dominostein from the inside. There's a layer of marzipan on top, followed by a layer of fruit jam, and then followed by a layer of gingerbread. Delicious. Just a quiet little D tier for the domino pieces. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was a real tour de force. We covered a lot of ground today. I hope you learned something today if you're not from Germany, and let me know what you thought. And if you are from Germany, or if you grew up here, or if you've lived here, please let me know how right or wrong I am with my tier system here, because I think there were some hot takes in there. Not quite sure, but I think there were. If you enjoyed this type of content, there were a lot more German classic snacks that I showed my buddy Ethan from the Ethan Schabowski YouTube channel, which of course you can watch still. We had a great time tasting some crazy German snacks. And of course, me and the team, we shot similar videos to this in Finland and in Lithuania. So if you want to watch me try my way through similar snacks, only in other countries, then go ahead and watch those videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. and I'm gonna see you in the next video.